What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to another episode of Birds Deep. My man, Cool McCain, Sports Empire Network, Birds Deep, Sports Empire Network. I'm your host, Gene Walzak, my co-host, Cool McCain, and our third wheel is a little bit late. He's driving home. I don't know what he's doing, but it's my man taking a DD, Godfrey. He'll be on shortly. We have a lot to get into. We only have 55 minutes. We're jam-packed. We cannot start late because there's too much to go over. How you feeling tonight, Cool?
It's an Eagles Thursday, man. I'm feeling good.
Bro, it's a football Thursday. We got Hall of Fame game tonight. You ready for that? Are you ready to turn on the TV and see Zach Wilson throwing the sling in the rock?
I'm so very excited to see Zach Wilson.
Key, you can hop on whenever you want. You let me know. We'll set it up before show. You're Eagles fan. We love you. All right. So we got a lot to get into. Tonight we're going to get into the top 100 Eagles that made it. There are going to be 7 players on the list. 6 plus Jalen Hurts will be in the top 10. We're going to talk about the Eagles' schedule. We're going to break it down. We're going to give what we think for wins and losses, what might be a trap game, what might be a getaway game. We kind of predict a couple bumps in the road. It's the first time the group will go over everything as far as schedule is concerned. And then last but not least, we're going to give you a couple training camp updates. But without further ado, we got a top 100 list to go over. And as soon as Godfrey comes in, we'll get his opinion. But number 100 on the top 100, the Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith. Too high, too low. What's your thoughts?
Skinny Batman was disrespected. That's my thoughts. That man should have not even been in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? But the good part about things like this is motivation. You know, this was voted on mainly by players and a couple of execs, if I remember correctly. So this is a lot of players in the NFL. You know, so you got players saying, oh, you're only the 100th best player in the league. And some of those guys that voted, I feel like there may be a little bit of hate because they might have got carved up by the Slim Reaper last year. They might have felt the force of Skinny Batman, so they're a little sour. But it's all good. Motivation, man. Devontae got the motivation. Oh, you only think I'm the 100th best player? I'm about to show you I belong in the top 60, 50 next year.
I think that Devontae Smith ends up in the 60s next year. I think he has a great year this year. I think that he'll end up being more of a Batman and Batman as opposed to a Batman and Robin. I get it. They have the 3 Batmans, Skinny Bat 4 if you count Jason Kelsey. But I think that Devontae Smith will become more of a Batman. Godfrey, I just threw you right in, brother. How you feeling? Godfrey just raced in the house. He doesn't have his mic set up. He probably can't even hear me. And that's okay. All right, I'm just kidding with you, brother.
But it's got a really nice Eagles hat on. I like that.
I do like that.
Thank you.
We
proud of my hat game.
We were just talking about the top 100, and we got into the first one, Devontae Smith at number 100. Too high, too low? What do you think?
I don't think it's too high. I mean, he does own the Eagles' receiving rookie record, does he not?
He does.
You know, I think he deserves to be in there. I mean, He's shown improvement year after year. Owning the Eagles' rookie receiving record, it's nothing to sneeze at, and I think he deserves to be in the top 100. I don't think that's crazy.
Well, no, Cool was saying that he thinks he should be in the 80s. I think he's a little underrated. I think like 94, 93 is where I kind of would have put him at, but Cool thinks the 80s. I think he'll be in the 60s next year. I really believe that. I think that he takes a huge step forward this year.
95 receptions.
Facts. I feel you. I think he's going to have a great year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a time served issue, right? Like, it's just his career is still young as far as the Eagle, and that's the only thing I think. Because I think he'd be way up. Another year under his belt, I think he's going to leapfrog. Especially if his year is better than last year, it's going to really leapfrog. I mean, because in Philly, we've had some great receivers, but it's not known. I mean, as an Eagles fan, we haven't had a plethora of like great long-term receivers. We've had some flashes in the pan. We've had some good ones. Mike Quick was good for a short period of time. Yeah, God, I almost said Wilbert Montgomery, but that's not what I meant. Carroll Carmichael, for the old schoolers out there, we had T.O. for like what, two years, if that, a year and a half. Deshaun Jackson was good for, he gave us a decent amount of time, but I don't think, we've had a lot of, especially during Andy Reid years, we had James Trash and, Todd Stinkston. Kevin Curtis was a big free agent signing that year. That's how poor we were for receivers. Like Kevin Curtis, he's going to take us to the promised land. Remember that? Don't lie and say no one was not hyped about Kevin Curtis, especially after that.
I was not hyped about Kevin Curtis.
Did you think that game was fraudulent? That Lions game where he had that 3 touchdowns?
Yes. You talking about week 2?
Yeah, it was fraudulent.
Yeah,
but
I agree. We got to move on. We got 6 more Eagles on this list. Darius Slay comes in at number 65. I would say properly rated. No disrespect there. I think that Slay is still a top 10 corner in the league. I don't see. I understand the cornerback. There's plenty of positions on the football field. Darius Slay coming in at 65. I think that's properly rated. What are your thoughts? Cool.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't have a problem with that. I'm good with that one. That's,
Godfrey?
I think like right there where he should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, I think they're, Eagles have had some good corners over the times. I mean, I don't think he's on an Eric Allen level. I mean, people might. I think Eric Allen he's still not in the Hall of Fame, correct?
I don't know if Eric Allen's
cool. Eric Allen, do you make the Hall of Fame yet? I know you know that. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Is my point. Eric Allen should be in the Hall of Fame.
He hasn't made the Hall of Fame yet.
He's not. He's eligible for a few years, so he still has plenty of time to go gain momentum.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Allen, in my opinion, is going to be up there, but we'll see. I mean, I have not seen this full list, so I could be completely wrong, but I would assume Eric Allen be way higher up there than Darius Slay. I mean, Darius Slay is great.
This is top 100 players in the NFL right now, Godfrey, not top 100 players in Eagles history.
Okay.
This is top 100 players. I know you were a little late to show. Top 100 players in the NFL go right now. So Devontae Smith is 100, and Darius Slay is 65.
All right. Well, now I have to say that I think Devontae Smith should be slightly higher. Darius Slay, 65. I don't think that's too far off. If we're going top 100 players overall, I think that's right about where it should be. I think Devontae Smith maybe should be a little bit higher. Then I would change my answer previously.
All right, next one. Hassan Reddick, number 48. I think this is too low. I think that Hassan Reddick should be higher than 40 than 48. I believe that he should have, if he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, he probably should have been top 2 or 3. He wasn't a finalist. So he wasn't a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. I think that 48's too low for Hassan Reddick. What do you think? Cool.
Definitely too low, man. To me, he should have been the Defensive Player of the Year last year, right? Led the league in sacks. He was a monster. He was disruptive. He was everything that you want from a guy to dominate. And to not even be nominated for the reward and then to turn around and get disrespected in the top 100, man, I mean, I kind of thank the players because you're doing the job for them. You're giving guys that are already playing at a high level chips to put on their shoulders. So I'm just like, thank y'all. Like, good job, idiots. But
I mean, I'll give you some guys at his position listed above him. I mean, we're talking overall, but would you take him or Matt Judon?
I would take him. I would take Hassan Reddick over Matt Judon.
Okay. He's ranked 33, which is high. What about Demario Davis or Hassan Reddick?
Well, I'll take Hassan Reddick over Demario Davis.
Agreed.
I would too. He's ranked 43. I agree. What about Khalil Mack at his stage in his career? He got 30.
I would take Hassan Reddick over Khalil Mack right now.
At this stage,
Yeah, at his stage of his career, I agree 100%. I mean, this list is kind of, I don't know, man. Now, TJ Watt, I think I would take TJ Watt over Hassan Reddick. Fair to say, right? Right?
No? I would take TJ Watt way over Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, I would take
TJ Watt.
Right.
Light years.
Yeah. Yep. Same here. I mean, yeah, I think he's, if they're based off who's below him at his position, I think he's too low. I just, of that position and scanning through it, the only one that I would. What about Roquan Smith or Hassan Reddick?
Roquan Smith, no doubt in mind.
Okay,
yeah.
So two above him, and those guys, aforementioned guys, I would not take above Hassan Reddick too. I agree. So I just think he's too low, just based off that. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me. Demario Davis, I mean, he's up there, man. I don't know. He's a good
Demario
player.
Davis is a very good inside linebacker. Franchise, we're just asking defensive players who we take over them. We're not saying that they're the same player. We're just saying we're just trying to find comparables around that position. Number 41, Lane Johnson. Now, we can't be homers, guys. I think 41 might be properly rated or maybe a little overrated. He's a right tackle. I love Lane. Best right tackle in football. But they pay the left tackles all that money. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I think 41 might be a little high. I would have been fine if him and Hassan Reddick were swapped.
Yeah, I would have been too. But, I mean, if you're the best at your position, I mean, you should have some gravitas as far as your ranking. I mean, are we going to say Hassan Reddick is the best at his position? I mean, Lane Johnson, best right tackle in football. I mean, plays through injury. I mean, I would put
the best right guard in football is now on the list. So, I mean, the position matters, right? The best kicker in football is not on the list either. So the position does matter, right?
Is there any kickers on the list?
No, that's the point. So the position matters, right? When you play right tackle, it's not left tackle. I think that 41 is properly rated, if not a little overrated. When I say a little overrated, I mean just swap him and Hassan Reddick.
I mean, I'm fine with 41. I think a guy that hasn't allowed a sack in 2 years, as franchise was saying in the chat, definitely, deserves to be around 40, right? So I'm not upset with it.
I mean, how do you guys view the top 100? Do you view it as like this is someone that you want on your team that you could build that position?
It's not like a franchise thing. It's going into this year. So it's like what they're rated based off what they did, like at the exact.
But the players rated it though.
Correct.
Yes.
Players all rated.
It's all done by the players. Yeah.
So like you look at number 37, and this is another one. I swear I'm getting Eagle sacrilege right now. Jason Kelsey is listed at number 37. I think that's too high. Creed Humphrey didn't make the list. I think Creed Humphrey and Jason Kelsey are very comparable. And I think Jason Kelsey, because he's such an active personality, such a good puller, and the best center in the league, he got a little higher rated than he should have. And I love Jason Kelsey. I'm not saying Jason Kelsey's not the best center in football. What I am saying is that Creed Humphrey not being on the list and Jason Kelsey being rated 37 is pretty wild to me.
I kind of look at this like a high school election, for class president.
But it's not. It's been really accurate over the years, though. Like I get what you're saying. But
there's some popularity to it. I mean, like being a known player, it has you in the front of their mind, though. I mean, like just to your point, like they're the best guard of football is not on there, right?
No.
I mean, why? I mean, most centers aren't going to be on there either because they don't got a podcast with Travis Kelce.
But the point being is, I don't think that 37 for Kelsey and not on the list for Creed Humphrey is fair. Like, I think they're very comparable players.
Well, you got to understand too, Gene. Like Godfrey was saying, a lot of this is friendship, who they look up to, who they like, all those things as well. Because if we're talking about going into this season, we probably should have Kelsey a little lower, to be honest, because he's way near the end of his career at the beginning. He may be the best center in football, but you could drop him down a few places and start to look at who's the next guy, or who you think is going to be the next guy. And to your point, they probably should be on this list. But it's a popularity thing. You want to get a couple of guys that really don't belong on this list in. So in order to do that, some guys that belong on the list have to get knocked down or out.
So they voted in November. Someone said in the chat. So if they did,
they voted in November.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where things. If you vote after the Super Bowl, I would have to say Reddick would have moved up based off his performance
in the playoffs.
He would have had to.
Not in the Super Bowl, bro. He had a bad Super Bowl, but I really believe that the whole problem with that is, and I don't care what anybody says, man. You want to talk about Hassan Reddick in the Super Bowl? They're playing on an ice skating ring. I'm not saying that both teams didn't play on an ice skating ring, but there's a reason why there wasn't many sacks in the game. Period. It was because the defensive lineman couldn't, and it's on both sides. Like the Eagles' offensive line was given credit for the run game and for Jalen Hurts to not be sacked. I think he was sacked once in the Super Bowl, but you didn't give any credit to the Eagles' defensive line, knowing the fact that they were playing on an ice skating rink.
That's true too. But I always say, I feel like there is like clairvoyance. Like it doesn't matter who or what or when. If I'm on a fucking podcast, a charity call will pop up. My sister, my girlfriend from 5 years ago. It is like clockwork. People I haven't heard from in 10 years. Anyway, back to the show. I'm like, what's going on? It's a total spam call, by the way.
All right. So number 22 on the list was AJ Brown. I think that is properly rated. I think he's a top 6 receiver in football, maybe 7. And then franchise, that's Godfrey's ringtone, Super Mario. But I think 22 is about right. I think he's the 6th best receiver in football, maybe 7th. I think that's exactly where he needs to be at. I think he's rated properly.
He took I think, a leap in his career coming to the Eagles. I just think.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. So, I mean, where was he at last year?
I mean, Ryan Tannehill, Jalen Hurts. I mean,
actually, I have that right here. Was he even on the list last year? I mean, I don't know. I have the list right here. I'm looking at it right now. I don't know if he was on there. I'm looking at it, doing a little Control F action. And there's no Brown coming up in the whole list. Wait, there's Denzel Ward is only Brown, and that's because it's Cleveland. I don't see him in there, man.
Yeah, so he wasn't on the list last year, all the way up to 22.
I got you. Just give me a minute here.
That's a Carson Wentz type of leap. Remember, he was 3, and then Carson disappeared forever, like after his first year. So, I mean, but that was a reverse leap. It was a leap forward, quantum leap. That's a huge leap from off the list to 22. It's huge.
So, question for you guys: where do you think Jalen Hurts is going to rank on this top 10 list? I have the top 10 players that will be left. There's 10 players, obviously, that they haven't been named yet. Jalen Hurts is one of them. So that'll tell you everything you need to know. There's 10 players left. So here's the 10. You ready? You tell me where you think he lands. There's Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Hurts, Nick Bosa, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. I think that's 10. I'm pretty sure that's 10. Yeah. Where do you think he ranks out of the 10 guys left? And Aaron Donald. Well, Aaron Donald was under today. He was 11.
Am I going?
They're up to 21, right? Or so we're talking about.
No, they're up to 10. 11 is the top 20 have been announced. They're 1 through 10's left.
Gotcha. Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, so I'm definitely taking Jalen Hurts over Nick Bosa for sure. I'm gonna take Jalen Hurts over. I guess is Donald in the conversation?
Aaron Donald's 11, so he's already named. No, the people in the conversation. I'll read it out again: Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Nick Bosa, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. Jalen Hurts, and I'm missing 1 or 2.
George
So
Kittle, I'm
I'm putting Hurts at 4. I'm putting Travis Kelce at 3. I'm putting Mahomes at 1, and I'm putting Burrow at 2.
Where do you have them at? Cool.
So where do I think he should be, or where do I think they're going to put him? Because there's two different places.
Give me both.
Okay, I think they're going to put him somewhere between 9 and 7. I think he should be 4.
Me too.
You think they're going to put him between 9 and 7?
I do think he's going to be the 9-7 range.
So I know they voted in November, but my thing is all these guys in these
Micah
top 10
Parsons is one where we missed. Micah, that's
And probably George Kittle, maybe? Or
No,
is he already on the
Kittle's
list?
already on the list.
He's already on the list. Okay.
I mean,
I think he's right 5th. I think he'll be 5th. I think he'll be 5th, and I think he deserves to be 6th. You think he's top 5?
yeah.
I can't put him ahead
I
of
think
Joe
so.
Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Micah Parsons. I just can't do things like that.
Well,
Well-
you just named 4 people, so that makes him 5.
I can't. I mean, my top 3 above him, I was looking at the overall impact that they have on their team and how well they were doing in that season up to probably the point they voted. Right. Jefferson, great player.
Jettis is going to be ahead of him, too.
You think so? I mean,
Yeah, Jefferson.
I think he's,
Yeah.
I think he's,
you just
I
made
think
the
he's-
argument for him being 6. You just made it.
yeah. I mean, Jettis, it could be there. I don't know if there'll be any surprises. I mean, I wouldn't argue with him being above him, Jettis being above him. But I mean, what was who had the strongest impact on their team out of that top 10 overall?
I can't. Key just listed her top 10, and I can't have Micah Parsons 10. I just can't do it. He's better than the players ahead of him. Like, I didn't look at the rest. I just see Micah 10. I'm like, no. All right, so she's got.
I'm taking
Mahomes.
him above her 6 to 10 or 6 to 9. I would put Parsons in front of 6 to 9.
I would put Parsons ahead of Jalen Hurts, and I would leave and I would put Travis Kelce
I
a little
think
bit
Travis
lower.
Kelce's too high. Definitely.
I think Kelsey's too high. I think Michael Parsons is too low. I have Jalen Hurts 5 or 6. I think he's 5 or 6. I would take him ahead of Josh Allen. I would take him ahead of Cheetah. I would take him ahead of Nick Bosa, and I would take him ahead of Chris Jones. That's where I have him.
I don't think Kelsey's too high. I think that's right on
You
the
think
money.
Kelsey's the second best player in all of football?
If we're going off last year,
No, we're going off right now. Like, who's the second best player in football?
I mean, but a lot of it has to do with last year's performance, right? Up to an extent.
Well, what they're asking them is who is the best player in football?
Bro, he
So,
helped
like-
carry that team. We're talking 1,300 yards, 12 TDs. I mean,
You think he's
110
more?
receptions.
You think he's a better player than Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson? No, I can't do
I
that.
don't think he's better than
Dude,
anyone
as
else.
far as impact on his team, they knew where they were going with the ball, and he still made it happen every single time.
I think Key's list is pretty solid. If you swap Kelsey, I swear to God, you could stop Kelsey with Parsons, and it would make a little bit more sense. I don't know. I think Mahomes is 1. I think Burrow's 2. I actually think Jettas will be 2. I think it'll be Mahomes, Jettas, Burrow, Micah, Kelsey, Hurts, Josh Allen, Cheetah, Bosa, Jones. That'll be my 10.
I don't know, man.
See,
I don't
man,
think you're gonna get him to put,
I think the reason why Jettas won't be as high as you think is because I think a lot of these players vote on this, and when all the players watch is when it's a big matchup. It's a marquee matchup. It's like wrestlers in the back when they see Bret Hart and Steve Austin wrestle on The Rock and Steve Austin, etc. And they're all glued to the screen, and that's in the front of their mind when they vote and they see Kelsey in a lot of these matchups. And that's why I think he's going to surprise people where he lands in the top 10.
You do make a point there because Jefferson is stuck with the one guy who chokes every time he plays in prime time.
That's
So
not
that
Jetta's
hurts.
fault, though.
No, but
It's
it
not,
hurts.
but it doesn't.
But it
But
hurts
it's,
what you see from him.
but that position, as well as tight end, and Travis Kelce benefits from this. But he was balling when Alex Smith was there. He's balling more with Patrick Mahomes. It's very quarterback dependent, right? So, like, I just receiver is one of those positions, man. Like, Jettas had a great year last year. You can't take anything away from him, and What was that game though? Was that in November when Jair Alexander shut him down?
It was
Or was
December. It was the second to
No,
last
it was
week of the season.
after voting, so it's probably not in the voters' minds that's not going to be on the table. So that they didn't vote based off that. So too late.
I feel like Jair Alexander cemented his spot as the top cornerback in football after that game.
See, I think he did, but there's including the Eagles grass situation, and I think this people don't talk about this enough. Them choosing to wear a certain cleat, and they were told by their equipment manager not to do that, and they ignored it. And what do these guys have in common? The Eagles had that issue too, somewhat, not as profound. They had younger head coaches, right? And Andy Reid, that shit wouldn't have happened. He's like, nah, you're wearing these cleats. And the same thing happened with the Minnesota Vikings squad. And I didn't believe it. I have a friend that's a Minnesota Vikings nut. He was showing me all the report and all that. Like, Jair Alexander definitely shut him down, but they definitely helped him out by saying, like, nah, we're going to – there was like something like a 30-year-old equipment manager that said you should wear these cleats.
Godfrey, the whole week, they were asking Jair Alexander how it felt when he was torched by Justin Jefferson in week 4 or 5, whenever they played the first time. And he said, I got something for him this Sunday. I will be following him around this Sunday. Talk smack all week, said, I'm going to shut you down, and then walked into the game and held him to 1 reception for 8 yards. I don't care what cleats. You can change your cleats if the cleats were the problem. It's not the cleats. It's not the cleats.
The cleats, I think, definitely make a difference on that field.
Too, though. There were a lot of double teams on Jefferson, too. The team made a concerted effort to ensure that he wouldn't have a big game. Now,
but that's part of his game, though. That's not an excuse. He needs to wear the right equipment. That's part of his game, too. And Jair Alexander had the right equipment on as well.
I would say still, even with the double team, even with the cleats, 1 catch for 8 yards, we got to have more, even as your worst game.
Big fact.
That dude at wide receiver, you still got to find a way to have more impact than that.
Big facts. I think Jair Alexander put his stuff on the table and said, "It's who I am." Took it very I remember Jair Alexander getting into with Stephon Diggs. I love that, man. I love the way he plays the position. I'm a fan. So, all right, well, gentlemen, let's give our first look at the schedule. You ready? Y'all ready?
Yep.
Always. Born ready.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna pull up the schedule so everybody can see it at home.
17-0.
17-0. We are going to
20-0.
Look at this. I set it up perfectly. Y'all like this new edit I made? I love it. All right, so here's the schedule. We'll read it out for you. We'll go wins and losses through it. And hold on, we need someone to keep track. Cool. Can you
see that? You see what he's yelling? He's yelling number 4, top 100, number 4.
I want you to do me a favor. Cool. Can you keep track of the wins and losses? Do you have a pen and paper?
1 second. I'll grab one.
My man. I want to keep track of ours wins and losses for the season. Obviously, we can edit this and change it later. Like we can change. Oh, Key got us. Key got us. Well, that's all right. Cool's going. I appreciate you, Key. Keep track of the wins and losses for us. I'm going to come off as such a thank you. Key got us too. So it's 2 of us doing the same thing.
I'll trust Key. That way I can stay in the moment. Let's go.
All right. So opening week at New England. Opening week at New England. Hoodie's got time to prepare. 4:25 game. What do y'all think? Win or loss? We'll go. We'll do it. What we'll do is this way. The same person's not going first every time. We'll snake it. We'll start with Cool in game 1, and then I'll go in game 2, and Godfrey will stay in the middle.
Win. The Patriots have problems at the quarterback position. I don't care who you bring in as coordinator. The dudes that you have at quarterback are not quality NFL starters, in my opinion. So until you fix that problem, you're not going to beat a team like the Eagles.
I'll go win also. I'm sorry, Godfrey.
I'm gonna go win. I just feel like, the hoodie's there. He's got time to prepare, but everybody's got the same time to prepare on the first game of the season, and I just don't know if they're having the same type of effect on their players and preparation after some really boneheaded plays last year in the New England camp. I got to see them rebound before I can buy in and say they're going to come in and beat someone who's a defending or I'm sorry, they're going to be in New England that's defending NFC champ. I think the Eagles are going to overmatch them.
I have the Eagles winning that game also. I think the Eagles are a better football team. Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, they're not competing with Jalen Hurts. Across the football field, the Eagles are the better football team. I think the Eagles win that game. I'll start you off week 2. Week 2, Philadelphia Eagles are playing a primetime game on a short week for their home opener versus the Minnesota Vikings. Primetime Kirk Cousins, I say Eagles win 2-0.
Man, that's crazy, isn't it? Are you? If they lost, are you even more pissed because it's against Kirk Cousins in prime
No,
time?
not at all. I think the Eagles will lose one of their first 5 games.
Yeah, prime time. Is that Sunday? That's a No,
Thursday night
Thursday
football.
night. Thursday night football.
Damn, that's early for me. All right. Okay. Yeah, Thursday night football against it's the Eagles and that's not the is that the home opener?
Yeah, it's home opener.
Yeah, man, crowd's charged up. I just don't see it. And there's a lot of questions in Minnesota. I know everybody thinks that. There's not. There's tons of questions in Minnesota. And I don't see how, this early in camp, I haven't really seen how it's going to play out there. But there's a lot of questions, and their running game doesn't scare me at all. And they took care of Jefferson last time, so we'll see what happens this time. And I don't see much of a difference in the matchup.
Okay.
Dub.
All right, why don't you start us off week 3? Now we went from the short week to the long week. Now we got is that a Monday Night Football game? I think it's a Monday Night Football game at Tampa Bay. You go from prime time to prime time, extra break at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay has the only comparable quarterback situation to New England that I can remember on our schedule until we get to week 17. So we should win this game. We should win this game pretty thoroughly because I just don't see enough, again, from the quarterback position. You have some other weapons, but I just don't see you getting enough from the quarterback position. I think you're going to see guys just back there shell-shocked, whoever ends up winning that job, and they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
3-0 for cool. What do you got, Godfrey?
Man, off the rest, you think this? I think this is a sneaky game. I think Todd Bowles is going to present some challenges to Jalen Hurts with their defensive scheme. I think Baker isn't as bad as people are going to think he is. They still have weapons there in the receiver, room that their tight ends. I think K-Den's not bad for a second-year tight end. They got some talent in the running back room. I think it's one of these games where I feel like looking at this on paper right now, I could see doesn't Baker have to win that job? Who's he going against?
Kyle Trask.
Kyle
We're
Trask.
already talking about Kyle Trask doing well in camp. He looks way better this year than he did last year. Godfrey, you're taking too long, bro. You got a win or a loss?
I got a loss.
All that for a loss to Tampa Bay, 3-0. And I'll start you off on week 4. I got them 4-0, beating Washington at home. On to you, Godfrey.
So, yeah, I got them winning against Washington. I don't see them losing this game.
This is the loss.
Okay, so you both have them 3-1. I have them 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Give me a prediction for the LA Rams.
The Eagles get arrested for assault against the LA Rams, 4-1.
After that,
embarrassing loss to the Commanders.
Okay. What do you got here, Godfrey?
It's a win for the Eagles, I think.
I think I have them winning this game also, going 5-0. And then I have them in week 6 to the New York Jets. I have them losing that game at New York. I think Aaron Rodgers carves up the defense. And I think the Eagles, coming from a road game at LA, going all the way across the country to play another road game at home at the New York Jets. I think the Philadelphia Eagles lose this game and go to 5-1.
Yeah, I think they are going to kick the Jets' ass, and you're gonna see Aaron Rodgers start to age. I think this might be the game where the wheels come off the bus and he tells people to relax. So listen, I don't see Aaron Rodgers overcoming that. They got talent on the team. but you got to be able to lead and put it together. So let's see that first. I don't see that.
What do you got here, Cool?
Win. I think the Commanders' loss that I predicted kind of refocuses the team. I got to win here.
So we all have them 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
Week 7, Miami Dolphins, Tua, Cheetah, Waddle in Philadelphia. Prime time. Sunday Night Football. We all have them 5-1, Key. Key has we all have them 5-1.
Is it going to be Tua?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming so. That's who their starting quarterback is. I don't know if he'll still be there week 7. Cool. What you got on this game? Miami Dolphins, Sunday Night Football.
This is a tough game. But you know what? We got another deadly stretch coming up. So I think we're going to find a way to slide a victory out here. So I'm going to go win.
So, Key, just to give you guys an update, my one loss is versus the Jets. Cool's one loss is versus the Commanders. And Godfrey's one loss is versus the Buccaneers. So you're at week 7. We're 5. We're me and Godfrey right now are 5-1. Cool has just announced his 6-1 over the Miami Dolphins.
I'm not confident, but I'm gonna go.
What do you got here, The?
I think the Eagles win. It's gonna be a nice, fun game, but I think the Eagles push this one out and they're gonna win.
I think the Eagles win this game versus Miami and then go on the road to Washington and lose. They lose the divisional game on the road to the Washington Commanders, and they fall to 7-2 or 6-2. Sorry, 6-2 at the current time. What do you think about at the Commanders, Godfrey? You already had them losing to the Commanders. No, you didn't. You had them beating the Commanders.
Yeah, I got them. I think they're going to beat the Commanders. I know I just don't. I got to see something. If as it sits, Commanders, they beat them both times.
So 8-1 for 7-1 for Godfrey, 6-2 for Gene. What do you got here, Cool?
They already lost to the Commanders one time. They're not losing to the Commanders twice in one season. This is a win.
So you have them 7-1 also.
I do.
I thought I was the optimistic one. Now I'm the pessimistic one. That's okay. Dallas Cowboys in Philadelphia. What do you got, Cool?
Whoop them tricks.
I like it.
That's what I got.
Godfrey.
They win that game.
I think they win coming off the loss at Washington. Then they come back. I think they looked ahead. They looked past Washington to play the Dallas Cowboys. They come back and win that game going into the bye. I have them. That should be 7-2 going into bye. 9 games. 7-2 going into bye. You guys both have them 8-1.
Actually, I want to change mine up. I think they lose to the Cowboys in that first game. I think it's a shocker, and fans go nuts.
Okay.
Because it's at home. So I'm going to have them losing to the Cowboys.
So 7-2, 7-2, 8-1 going into the bye. Godfrey has them losing to the Cowboys now. Coming off the bye, they got to play at Kansas City. Also coming off the bye is the Kansas City Chiefs. I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning that football game and dropping the Eagles to 7-3.
I also have a loss.
7-3. Cool.
I've got a loss too, so 8-2.
8-2. At home versus the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen and them boys coming through. What do you got, Cool?
Stephon Diggs will be fighting Josh Allen before the game's over. I'm gonna go Eagles.
Okay.
That'd be awesome. I think the Eagles right the ship at this point, and they got a 2-game losing streak under their belt, right? Back to back big games, and I think they just start rolling at week 12.
I think they lose. I think they lose at home to the Buffalo Bills, dropping the Eagles to 7-4. Week 13. I think this is the game we all have circled on our calendar. I think the Philadelphia Eagles dog walk the San Francisco 49ers. People are talking about 2 straight losses off the bye. Can the Eagles do it? The 49ers might even be a 1-point favorite going into the game. I think the Eagles dog walk the 49ers and absolutely destroy them.
I agree. I think the 49ers are a fringe playoff team this year. You can call me crazy, but watch how the season plays out. Offensive line matters.
So I have the Eagles losing this game. The reason is they're primed.
How dare you?
They're primed for the matchup against Dallas next week. We haven't swept Dallas in a while, and we really focus on that matchup. And we don't give the attention to detail we need to against San Francisco, so we drop that game.
Cool said they beat the Bills. Key.
Yep,
Cool
I
got
have
the win over the Bills. That he has them losing to the 49ers.
Yep, I have them. Yeah, correct.
You have them 7-3 after, or 8. Sorry, you have them 8-3 after this game versus the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that'd be 9-3 because I have them 8-4 when they beat the 49ers. Godfrey, you have them beating the 49ers also, right?
Yeah, they're gonna stomp a mud hole in them.
Are you predicting them to sweep the Cowboys? Cool. Is that what
I
you're
definitely predicted them to sweep the Cowboys. Arlington football team takes 2 L's this year to the Eagles, and that's Dallas gets unlucky because of where they're at. San Francisco gets lucky because of where they're at on the schedule.
Okay.
I think the Eagles are gonna bust their ass in Big D. We're not rolling up to Dallas or Gardner Minshew this time. It's going to be with Jalen Hurts, and it's going to be a win, okay, on a Dak Prescott pick 6.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles losing this game. Puts them to 8-5 on the season. I have them losing at Dallas. Dallas gets revenge from the earlier win that we have in Philadelphia. The Eagles a little bit real and losing 3 of 4 after beating the 49ers, but losing to the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Cowboys. I will have them start their road to recovery at Seattle with a win, bringing them to 9-5. Godfrey, you going or?
Well, I already said that we're on week 14, right?
We're on Seattle, week 15.
Yeah, see, I don't believe in Geno Smith repeating that. I think he's a better player than everybody thought he was going to turn out to be, but I don't see the Eagles losing to Seattle. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to beat them. They're the better team, and I think the Eagles are rolling at this point.
Cool.
Seattle can't hang. This is going to be a monster game for Penny. Penny's going to go out there and punish Seattle. It's going to be fun to watch.
And he's going to break his ankle going back to the bench after
as long as he makes it through the game, we're good.
They come home after a road trip on Christmas Day to face the New York Football Giants. Cool. What do you got?
The Giants are our little brothers, and our little brothers are getting noogies.
Godfrey, what are you going with the Giants Christmas Day?
Oh man, they're gonna beat them. They're definitely gonna beat them. It's Christmas Day, and they're getting their ass beat. It's gonna have to happen. I haven't seen enough improvement from them as far as roster construction where I think they're gonna have to overmatch the Eagles, and the Eagles really overmatched them last year. I mean, I know the last game of the season was a little bit different, but I don't think they're there yet. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the scoring. We'll see. I mean, we'll see if the upgrades made a big difference. But I think it's never hype.
I have the Eagles stomping the Giants and then staying at home and facing the Arizona Cardinal team on New Year's Eve, playing for Caleb Williams. I think that's a win, and I don't think they even play their starters. That brings the Eagles to 11-5 for me. I have the Eagles 11-5 right now after a win versus the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm at 12-4, I think, right?
You are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this New York Giants game if it's going to matter or not. So, Key, did you talk about the Cardinals? I'm not skipping over you, did you?
No, it's a reverse effect, brother. When you're going to go after, you're good.
Yeah, it's Cardinals right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Cardinals, man, they're gonna get dog walked.
So you have them 12-4 now.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you got in this game?
I have the same thing you guys have. I have them 13-3 after this win. And then there's no reason for anybody that normally plays on this team to suit up the next week. Just stay in your jumpsuits, and you don't even need to play because everything's wrapped up. So I have us losing to the Giants because their starters are better than our third string.
So 13-4 season with them sitting everybody the last week of the season. Godfrey, what do you think last week of the season?
I think it's going to wrap up that way too. I don't think it's going to end up being a meaningful game. So I got the Eagles losing and ending 13-4.
I have the Eagles winning this football game in a game that wraps up the 1 seed for the Philadelphia Eagles and ending the season at 12-5.
So Kyle, I've got us sweeping the next closest team. I've got us splitting with the Giants and Commanders, so I have us with 4 wins in the division. The only person that would have the tiebreaker over us based on my record is the Commanders, who would beat us first, but they're not going to be in contention for the division. So I have us comfortably winning the division by 2 to 3 games.
I think I'll answer Kyle's question next. Let's put it on the screen. I have the Eagles winning the division by 1 game over the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys will be 11-6. I think the Eagles will be 12-5. I think they'll win the division by 1 game over, which is why they have to play everybody last week of the season.
It could happen. I mean, when's the last time this division has been won consecutively? 2 years in a row by the same team?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I think back like when the Eagles were winning back-to-back. Back in the early 2000s, I think is the last time.
Yeah, schedule is always tough to predict because health is a big factor throughout the season.
100%, but it's always fun to go through it the first time.
I feel like I should have 1 more loss though. Like I feel like I should have 1 more loss, but I'm good with what I believe in my picks, but I feel like it should be 1 more loss.
There's always a
game we should win and we won't.
Every season there's a game like that. Like the Redskins game for me last year was like that.
Oh my gosh.
That I just don't see the Redskins getting 2 games off a game off like that again. I mean, that was just like wow.
Key, did we get it right though? Cool's 13-4, Godfrey's 13-4. I'm 12-5. Is that what you have? I just I'm interested to find. I'm pretty sure I'm 12-5. I know our 5 losses at Dallas, at Kansas City, at home versus Buffalo, at Washington, and at the New York Jets. They're my 5 losses. I think they go good.
I was gonna say Key says never the same team who wins the division. Just want to let you know, Key, it's time to break that streak, and we're gonna do it.
We're gonna whoop that trick.
Get them.
All right, well, gentlemen, any training camp notes that you want to cover in our final segment? Anything that you want to talk about that you've seen so far? It's been very quiet, obviously. The Philadelphia Eagles are staying injury-free right now, which I love to see. What's your thoughts so far on your first training camp thoughts?
Nothing much for me. Nothing much. It's early. I'm still waiting for some exciting stuff to happen. But being quiet is good. So I know special teams is underway a lot and is part of the camp, and it's just it's just kicking off. You guys know how I feel about training camp, but it's not the same it was. It just isn't. So it's like a precursor to the holiday coming up.
I've heard a lot of reports. Oh, go ahead, Gene.
No, I just wanted to say the one thing that I found out that was really nice was Cam Jurgens is now taking first team reps at guard. Rookie Tyler Steen working as a second team left tackle. So I think that's a good move for the Eagles for their draft last year. And, I think that Cam Jurgens starting at guard would be great for his development.
Yeah, I agree.
So
there's been
reports that Kayvon Wallace is really impressing, and that decides doing the formations where we have 3 safeties, I think. Yeah, we're playing 3 safeties. And Edmonds could end up dime linebacker in some formations. So I'm hearing Kayvon Wallace is really having a great camp, and Josiah Scott may be out the team as well. So just a couple of things I've heard so far as who's impressed. And Nicholas Morrow may not make this team either, from what I'm hearing. So just a couple of interesting things from some guys who had, I wouldn't say significant roles, but a decent role in the team last year.
All right. So
I've been reading about training camp battles between the corners. Slay's been giving it to Smith, and apparently Bradbury's been having a great camp, but he couldn't contain AJ Brown. Apparently he torched him on a nice back shoulder throw, and Jalen Hurts has yet to throw an interception yet in camp.
Yeah, I did hear that too.
Good topics this week, boys. We'll be back next week, 50-minute segments. Any final thoughts before we wrap up Birds Deep?
Just fly, Eagles, fly, man. Fly, Eagles,
Man,
fly.
happy preseason.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Catch us next on Pregame and Pigskin. Me and D. Godfrey will be with the man, Kyle Edwards. Tune in to Sports Empire Network. Give us a like, follow, a share. Appreciate you guys tuning in this week. We will be back every week, 6 to 6:50 on this time. Same bad time, same bad channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is D. Godfrey, Cool McCain, and I'm Wire to Wire Gene, and we are signing out.